You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Battista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So, if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your, stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Chris Gillis and Dr. Emily. Signs you should run for the hills that are easy and dangerous to miss. Welcome, ladies, to Life Check Yourself 2023. We have Dr. Emily and Mr. Chris Gillis back in the house. Welcome.
This is going to be the best 2023 ever, Marni. I'm convinced. Let's go.
It really is going to be the best 2023 ever. I'm so excited about it. Chris and I have received some feedback about the stability of our connection. And so we're super excited that I have an Ethernet cable and Chris is in his abode with Dr. Emily. So we are hoping for better audio in 2023. Okay. So we have a lot. We talked earlier that was not recorded about just sort of like the loose ends of 2020. The loose ends of 2022. We were talking about Chris Harrison having a podcast. We were talking about there's going to be a new season of The Bachelor. I'm not sure how I feel about it. There's going to be a new show, which is MILFs in the Mansion, which is a bunch of MILFs that are going in to date young men. I don't know. I think that's starting soon. We've got Love Island.
Can we still say that, Marni? Is MILF still acceptable in 2023? Are we allowed to?
I mean, it should be.
Okay.
Compliment.
All right. It's a compliment, right? Yeah. All right,
I always saw it as a compliment.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. In fact, yes. When my kids, they're adults now and they say to me, "Oh, Mom, you're so cute." I think like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
The only man who will ever want to sleep with me is my husband for sure. But, "Oh, you're so cute, Mom." I'm like, "Isn't that something you say to your grandma?" But then they pointed out to me that I say to them, "You're so cute." So I decided to take it as a compliment. But I
want them to say,
that.
"Mom, you're such a MILF," is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, I did say, instead of saying that, saying, "You're so sexy, Mom. You're such a sexy beast, Mom." But then we agreed that I say they're cute. So cute is just a general term of affection. Did you have a chance to listen to Chris Harrison's podcast? It said nothing. Nothing
That's what
new.
I suspected.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of comments about him saying nothing new and him speaking from the heart, and some people sort of saying, he's not speaking from the heart and he's still a bad person and all of that.
Right.
What I liked about it was I just felt like what he said is that I did a show about relationships and communication is the most important part of relationships. And I really botched it in the past. And then I was ill-advised to not communicate.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was great advice. And so I'm doing this show and I'm back here and I want to communicate. I want to talk. And so we'll see what the rest of the show looks like. But it was great. I have to say, just from a visceral Bachelor fan experience listening, I really realized I missed his voice. I missed his fucking voice.
Yeah, you've always been a big fan of the OG person, even though I think Jesse Palmer's killing it. I think he's doing a great job, and he's the daddy of the MILFs, I guess. Yeah,
he is. But apparently, and I didn't fact check this, but Chris Harrison did say that while he doesn't watch the show anymore, he is tracking on ratings, and I think he said they're down like 60% since he left.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like I like Jesse Palmer, but I think he's only good because he's like just copying what Chris Harrison did.
Totally.
So
Yeah. He's not like offensive. I think the other thing is he was talking about all the Bachelor alum that were gunning for his job, And then my friend Dave Niels was talking about, those people that were really pissed, like Wells or Nick Viall, or people that didn't get the job. And he was sort of like, it just is the premise of these people that are the same ages or dateable in relation to the contestants makes it a little squeamish. Right. So having someone who's a little bit older, a little bit more mature sort of doesn't make that so weird. And then we know, for those of you who watched with Tayshia and Caitlin Bristow, that was just like sorority girls jumping up and down, didn't really feel like much hosting. So I think we want to do a poll. So if you're watching this on YouTube, like for sure, leave a comment. Like, do you want us to talk about Bachelor? Are you sick of The Bachelor? Do you care about little baby Zach? We'd love to know. I want to talk about Love Island, of course.
Good. And real quick, pause. One of the 2023 things. Your boy Nick Viall just got married. Did you see
engaged.
That? Engaged?
Engaged. I did see that.
All right. I can't get anything past you girls.
I know. Well, my friend Dave Niels is just like I said, he's the aggravator. I just like pop in a little video. I get all the news that's fit to print. Yeah. So Nick Viall got engaged. Like apparently he and Chris Harrison were like having little soundbite wars, I think, about being called out for Nick wanting his job.
Right.
And there's blood in the water and all those kinds of things. So, I just think it's interesting. There's still a lot of stuff swirling around Bachelor Nation, so I think that's something to watch. But one thing we talked about this at the end of last year is, we don't want to use the words gaslight. I hope there's none of that this year. And, love bombing. I think I'm really excited for 2023 to have some new words, catchphrases and things that we can talk about. So I'm excited about that.
For that poll, Marni, you say you watched one episode of Love Island. Tell your listeners why they shouldn't maybe consider it in there.
Well, Love Island is just for sure like a bigger time commitment. Like it's like 50 episodes. They're in South Africa. I think it's super entertaining and more interesting from a perspective of what we're trying to do on this show. Because The Bachelor is so manufactured right now. It's just all about influencer and clout positioning that we can't really tell if that person is really that way or they're decided to play the role of the villain or the drama queen or whatever it is to cast themselves in a certain role for as a job opportunity. I think that Love Island still has a little bit of that purity in it where there's just a bunch of people trying to see what happens. It's also interesting. I'm behind on Love Island. And it's not even playing yet in the US, but it's interesting because there's guys in there that are just like, yeah, I'm not really here to find a relationship. Like, let's be honest, and then there's some that are like, I am. And that's what I loved about F-Boy Island was like that realness, right? Of hey, are you going to buy what this guy is putting out, And so I think that'll be really interesting. So I'm here for it. I'm super interested to see what y'all say. So if you're listening to this on a podcast platform, go over to YouTube, listen to us, watch us, and give us your opinion. We'd love to hear in the comments what you want us to talk about in terms of reality TV in 2023. But for now, we have to wrap up on Love is Blind. We have the final season. We have the final episodes. The show is a total failure in terms of finding love.
And blindly.
And blindly. Oh, I do one other last Bachelor news. Is that Ari and Lauren from The Bachelor apparently are pissed and did a shout out about how the Bachelor franchise doesn't give them credit for being a success story. And they were like,
oh, wow.
They went out, and it's because he didn't pick Becca.
Yeah, he didn't pick her. Yeah.
I know.
Flip-flopped at the end. So that's
he flip-flopped. He flippity-flopped. So anyway, but they're real cute. They have like 4 kids. That's all I can say. Okay. So we had the end of Love is Blind. And I think the first thing I want to talk about is this idea of Matt, this character Matt, who is a little aggro. I think we've decided he has anger management challenges. He seems to still be projecting his past onto Colleen. And we have a scene where his friends are chatting to him, and they're sort of like, yeah, Colleen, Matt has big emotions,
Mhm.
And so if you are dating someone and you meet the friends and they say something that's a little pink flag, how do you handle that? Is that real? Is that just their perception? Should you take it seriously? Because
Well,
Emily, I know that Chris's friend's wife met you and was like, don't date that guy. He like run as fast
Oh
as
my
you
God.
can.
No, Chris told on himself first. He was like, my friend's wife hates me.
I do remember that, yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Like, I
yeah.
Good.
And I did go off on it. I think I just vented, and it felt good to someone listen. And then she probably, good Lord.
Yeah, no, I was very like, ooh, that's scary. But then once I learned more about the context of it, I was like, okay.
It took you a while though, right? To get the full
I definitely
context.
had like a big fall up about that for a while.
Well, I think the thing you're saying is context is really important.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And like what the thing is about too, because weren't they saying like, oh yeah, Matt, like the thing was that he like would break up with her and like leave, right? He like packed his bags.
Yes.
And they're like, that's Matt. Like he just does
Mhm,
that. And I'm like, well, that's a pretty major issue. If it's like, oh, if it was something more minor or something that you could work past, but like, oh yeah, our friend just will randomly like abandon his relationships whenever he's upset. Like that's just his thing, is a pretty
yeah.
big
It's
issue.
a
Or he will
pretty big
feign that he
thing.
will, right? Yeah, like he'll
Yeah,
feel like a
but-
little kid will pack his stuff,
Yeah,
walk out. I'm like, someone's gonna stop me, right? And, and then won't make it into the block though, right?
Which we saw our young friend on Bachelor in Paradise do, right? Like whenever, was that Jill? Who is the one with Aaron? Was that Jill?
Genevieve.
Genevieve.
Yeah.
Right? Like Aaron would be like, she'd get mad and be like, I'm going home, and that's sort of like the boy version of Matt, like I'm out of here. And I think the important thing is, number one, like you have to collect your own data. You have to understand the point of view that person's coming from. And then you have to look at what have you noticed on your own, right? And in the context of Colleen and Matt, like, I think she's seen him do this behavior a long time. In the short time they're there, he's done that a bunch of times. So, and also not forgiving. That was another big issue that I wanted to talk about, right? Like both Cole and Colleen make this giant faux pas in the early seasons or early episodes of the pool thing. And then they're both like, please forgive me, and I feel like Matt doesn't have an ability to really hear Colleen, and even when Cole comes up to Matt, is like, dude, that was on me. Your girl didn't do anything wrong. Matt's so guarded and protected, he can't even really have an understanding of a different point of view of what really happened. So I would say that guy is a big giant run as fast as you can.
I agree.
And are they still engaged? Do we know?
Oh, good question.
A great question. I don't know. Reality Reina, let us know.
Reality Reina.
Wait, in the after show were they?
In the after show they were. You don't know for sure. Yeah, the after show.
Right.
They were.
But
Yeah.
they weren't living together
They weren't
yet.
living
They
together.
filmed the after show like a year later, and they still were not living together, which is like not terrible.
It was like a year and a half almost later.
Yeah,
I didn't know yet.
A long time.
They filmed both. Louise may have said this last time, but they filmed both seasons at the same time, 2 and 3, which was like so fascinating to me. So we got to see a longer results of the relationship. And my favorite thing, she said something about how, but like don't make a big deal out of it because we still see each other 6 days a week. And then she's like, Mondays are like laundry day, and she almost looked like happy, like that's my free day. That's when he's not. I get away from him. There was just like a twinkle in her eye, like finally. Free.
I mean, the internet had a lot to say about their body language, and who knows about that. Okay, so now let's talk about SK and Raven, and what we heard after, well, there's the reunion, then there's the after reunion, right? And so
Mhm.
what we saw, I was blindsided by the
I was
Right.
completely
Same.
fooled by SK. I thought he was the best human. I was like, this girl is out of her mind that she's pushing him away like this. He's so sweet. He's so patient. He's so wonderful, blah, blah, blah. He had me completely fooled.
I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
you guys, if you looking back, if you're hindsight now, but it sounds
No,
like
I
neither
wasn't
good. I still
thinking.
did. Amazing.
He got the edit. I mean, he got the edit of the nice guy for sure. I think the only thing that we didn't see that, and on the reunion, they didn't really allude to it, but you know, like he did have concerns and we don't see him addressing those concerns. Like when she's saying that batshit crazy stuff, like, which we talked about on the show, like, yeah, we're going to have 2 apartments and you're going to pay for both of them. And, you know, yeah, I'm not like, I'm not leaving my life. You're going to have to come visit me. We don't see him saying like, hey, you know, like, let's chat about that. And then in the finale, when they interview him, he's sort of like, yeah, we want different things. I think like we have different expectations of what this would look like. And so if SK never really had those conversations off camera or on camera, shame on him. It's not cool to just like be like, I've been thinking about this stuff and actually it really bothers me. So in the end, I'm gonna say no. So then we watch the finale and they're like, oh, they actually got back together. They're dating. But like literally less than 24 hours later, we find out some more shit. So what was that? Do you guys know that scoop about SK and Raven?
Go ahead.
Well, something that he, very quickly after the show wrapped up, he had another side girl, I want to say blonde chick or something like that. Yeah, that when she,
because he said no at the altar, but then him and Raven continued to date. And then while they were dating, he was also dating another girl. That was it. Yeah.
And she didn't know that he was dating other girls.
No, I had no idea. Marni, I love that. I think, maybe there is a little, it's like I never want to be completely like clueless, but I did find out, now you pointed out, I did find his agreeableness almost disturbing.
Yeah, he was like, it's okay.
Agreeable, but yet like not a wet blanket, yet always in power. You're like, wait, how the fuck can you both be always agreeable, yet always have this sense of control? He always maintained like, how does that work with you in life, where you always so conflict avoidant, but always somehow in the driver's, seat and getting what you want. So now that I see that, I'm like the long tail of that, like, oh yeah, that does make sense that he still avoided the conflict all the way to the end. But he did what he wanted to do without putting up a fight.
He made the classic mistake. And we've seen this on so many shows, right? The like really literally like, oh, love is blind, right? Like, oh, I'm going to go get a PhD in Berkeley for like 5 years and you're going to live in Texas. It's okay. Like our love will like be strong. We'll work it out. You're not down with some of the Nigerian stuff. It's cool. Our love is so strong. My mother will love you, and it's that like coming out of integrity with yourself and then having your moment. And then you say like, let's just say SK's human and not a douchebag. Well, if he really deeply believed those things, but then peer pressure and her hotness, and they are compatible and they have great chemistry, he gets back together with her. But then also I saw on Love Island, this is a great, awful quote, but it's true. It's true. On the intro episode, there's one of the guys and he's like, if I'm in a relationship, I'm committed. He's like, but if I'm just dating you, I'm not gonna let my girlfriend get in the way of me finding my wife. Meaning like, right? Like if I'm just dating you and you're kind of like my girlfriend, but we're not like committed, we're not building a life together. And I meet someone else, like I don't want to let that thing that's a question mark get in the way of me pursuing something other. And so in some ways, that's kind of what SK seems like he was doing. He just was dishonest about it. And so one of the things that I think people make a mistake in dating in real life is that they're not transparent about, look, I really like you. And also like, even though you want to take your profile down, that is like a lot for me. I'm not ready, and they just, I'll just go with it. And so I think the takeaway from SK and Raven is you have to talk about stuff, and you can't just think that like it'll work itself out, because shit just doesn't do that.
Right. I think it's almost selfish. And I have a couple people who, by not speaking up and not saying, or just avoiding the conflict at all costs, because you think, oh, well, fights are bad. And why would I'm helping her or him or whoever it is by not talking to them and shooting them straight. But then in the end, you're going behind their back and you're still fulfilling what you want.
Well, and the thing I was thinking of too is, and we've seen this on like The Bachelor and other stuff many times, is the whole like, oh, my family will love you, like the not
yeah, totally same thing.
You're not. Yeah, like that just happened on this season, didn't it? With
with
Rachel and
Tony. Oh no,
Tino.
My family's like so on board with this, and it's like
that was great. You're like,
can't
what?
Be what you actually believe. So you think you're protecting somebody, but you're actually setting them up for like a really devastating experience. That's not kind. Like that's not helping your partner. That's not being supportive.
Right.
No, it's definitely not. Okay, let's talk about Cole
Oh God.
and Zainab.
Another person we misread.
Oh my God. Like, did we misread him?
I don't know if you did. I don't think you did, Marn. Did you?
I felt like that guy was just being railroaded by Zainab. We talked about her fake apology. I was horrified, like as a mom, like literally the mom energy in me when they were like bullying Cole on the finale. I was like, this kid seems like a nice, sweet young man. Like, why the hate? Even to where what's the happy couple?
Alexa and
Brendan, yeah, and they're like, she's like, it's just like, and he's like, whoa, I never even talked to you, babe. Like, I just thought that was really evil. And then they have this conversation about, if you didn't watch it, it's a conversation about Zainab saying that Cole thinks she's fat, and that he criticizes her physical self, and she was doing something before having to go on camera and was really hungry. And he said, why are you eating these cutie oranges? Like we're going to eat dinner. And she was like, you were saying I eat too much. And I was eating like a banana a day. Anyway, and Cole, like, first of all, like from body language, the two of you guys, when you're watching Cole in that, did you think, well, maybe he is a jerk? Or were you like, no, there's no way he did that? What did you think?
I feel like I could talk about this for like 2 hours. We had a very interesting reaction. Initially, my initial watch of it was, I thought that Cole was saying like this whole scenario didn't happen, but he was saying that about something else. But so I watched it and I was like, oh, it did happen. Like, she's right. And Chris was literally like jumping up and down, like, he didn't call her fat. Like, what on earth are you watching? And I was like, hold on. And I had to go back and rewatch it and like get the whole context. And on the second watch, I was like, okay, this woman has some like very serious body issues and is filtering the entire world in such a way that she is only hearing what is kind of resounding with her own fears about herself. And if you think about it that way, like, it's really sad for her too. Like, I feel really sad for her. I feel really sad for Cole. Cole was just oblivious. Like, his whole thing, the whole season, was he was completely oblivious to the Colleen thing. He was oblivious to all this body stuff thing. He's oblivious, I think, to some cultural differences between him and Zainab. And that was the other thing going on in that conversation too, was he was asking like, well, where's your family? Is your family going to come?
Yeah, he was being so sincere and genuine.
Trying to make plans to include them because they were, in a different, well, they can't come. It's like, okay, that's fine. Well, 2 different weddings, one here, one there.
Let's go to the UK and and they put together a package of all the criticisms like in a row. And she was like, ha, 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 that's so funny. And he sort of was like, make light of it just to like accommodate like
Yeah.
like the cultural, like, you know, whatever. But in the end, so if you didn't watch this, there was, and I loved it because shows don't usually do this. They actually went to the cutting room floor and they found the footage of this whole incident with the cuties, the oranges, and 100%. He's like, oh, are you trying not to eat very much? She was like, yeah, for the wedding dress. So she's the one who's like making choices not to eat. He's not telling her what to eat and what not to eat. The whole thing is completely made up. And I think what Dr. Emily said is like really profound takeaway is that when you are not self-aware and you are not conscious, we don't know that we're leaking, right? Like that our insecurities are just like bleh, all over. And if you could do like a John Madden play-by-play of every edit of Zainab and Cole, you could find these moments where she's basically projecting her parents who abandoned her by dying when she was young to Cole, right? Like, did you leave me because I'm not good enough? Are you going to leave me? Do you really like me? Am I the best? Can I trust you? You know, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. I just will say, like, clinically,
yes,
there's another layer of this that if you're not eating enough, if your brain is hungry, your brain starts to do these really wacky things, like skewing reality in a very straight and it's so interesting to see that from this very objective lens of like, here's literally the footage of what happened. And it is so, I mean, Cole even is like, why aren't you eating? Like he's so oblivious. He's like, why didn't you eat today? That's weird, blah, blah, blah. Like just moving on. And it's really, really interesting. And like, again, sad, it's just wild that like, that your brain, if you are not giving yourself proper nutrition, your brain will start to do really wacky things to you without your consent, like without your knowledge. You won't be able to know, you won't be able to take a step back and go, oh, maybe I would. It is literally not possible. So this is like, I just think everybody needs to like pause the judgment of Cole's bad, Zainab's bad, and like take a big step back and say like, there are some really major issues going on here that like we all need to think about and be very mindful about. And yeah, when it comes to eating stuff, like it really, really skews your mind.
I hear that, and I totally makes sense, and I agree that I also think it's important. I think it's sad and it's unfortunate that, I mean, she almost railroaded this dude's dating career, at least for many years. Had those fuckers at Netflix not shown that thing, we'd all just be bad mouthing him and talking what a piece of trash he is. Thank goodness they did that. Also, very dick move that they set him up like that with the edits and that they. But it is power. It shows the power of the telephone game, you know, because it was all somebody repeated something and they all were going off this rumor where nobody had any facts. I think they even like tried to get Brendan. Well, where did you hear this from? And he goes, well, they heard it from her. And then, well, where Alexa heard it? She heard it from this, back and forth, and how powerful we can be. We talked a little bit about this, Marni, about you know, choosing our friends is, you know, echo chambers and how dangerous of a place that can live in there and how distorted those messages, especially when it starts off with a negative message, right? Of self-worth or body image or something like that. And God, I think I'm sad and disappointed. I was like a little scared, like, geez Louise, I'm glad I've never went on a show like that. She still never came out and publicly apologized about it and owned up to it.
She's doubled down.
And the dude, she doubled down 5 times. And even on the show, she was like, guys, don't be hard. He was still like somehow defending her through his own tears and all that. And I'm like, it's just so crazy. Again, to go back. Yeah.
It's so hard, you know, for like TV and culture and society is just so fucked, right? That he's like this white guy basically, right? And he can't afford to say you're wrong, I was right, or even though I made a mistake, I'm a good person, or I'm sorry, why can't you appreciate this apology, or why are you not taking, because he just can't, because then he'll be a bad guy and get like, you know, hammered on social media. So I just felt like he had no voice. And I think I think that it's unfortunate that what happens is when somebody is really articulate and intelligent and they can talk circles around you just because they're good at that. When you don't have self-worth and you get gaslighted, I really actually think she did gaslight him, and maybe that could be like the actual
You brought it up
use
in
of the
2022
word.
already, Marni.
I know,
Oh, boy.
but I'm thinking, Dr. Emily, I think he might have actually been gaslighted. Is that true?
I'd have to think about it, but yeah, I definitely think the shock at the end for him, she was clearly faking her way through the end of that season, like acting like, yeah, maybe we will get married. There was never a chance. The way that she did the speech at the altar,
yeah.
like,
brought her friends in,
very planned. And so yeah, on that extent, it's like, what? Yeah, you could.
Thank God Cole's family didn't come.
right?
Yeah, I was because we were having that conversation, like,
Yipes.
would you go? Like, if your kid's on a reality show and you're like, yeah, I'm getting married to a rando I met 6 weeks ago. I mean, I suppose I'd come, but also, like, I get, they're like, we don't want to have any part of this shit. We don't want to be on TV. We don't want to be interviewed.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Bartista's family, they basically just get hammered, and made to look really, even Nancy's family. So, I'm not mad at Cole's family. And I think there's even a conversation where he says, my family's really excited to meet you. They want to talk to you. They'll talk to you off camera. They just don't want to come to the wedding. And she's like, that's an issue for me. No,
I think they said they wouldn't talk to her off camera. That was my memory. They were like, we will not meet her until you are actually married. Because they just didn't believe any of it was going to happen. So they're like, if you actually get married, then we'll meet her. We'll be happy. I think that's
you're right.
Yeah.
I think the takeaway from this, Marni, for all the listeners is, and I've said it before, Chris's echoes, like, man, dating is really confusing. Gals, you're really confusing to us. And we don't, how bad we are at reading minds, and how fucking Cole, we were just like, God, what a dum-dum. And like, what an idiot. And in the end, you can kind of take pause and be like, wow, I can see, how he made that mistake. And at least me, I 100% think I probably would have made at least a few of those mistakes and errors. And they were just so perfectly, tragically awesome for TV just to come together.
They are so good. I interviewed this coach for the show, Brian Reeves, the other day, and he coaches men, and he was saying how men are just not aware. And I said that, I mentioned you, and I was like, Chris Gill says men are dummies. And he said, yeah, what's worse than a dummy is a dummy who's not self-aware. And I think that's Cole. That's Bartise. I don't know about SK. SK was coming off like he was self-aware, but I do not know. So Reality Raina says she thinks Colleen and Matt are still together, but that is not a fact. And I believe that Alexa and Brennan are still maybe together. But everyone else, it's a shit show out there. I mean, we just only can point to what was that guy's name? Barnett from season 1.
Oh yeah,
they're together.
Yeah, they're still together.
And Cameron, still together,
and
right?
Yep, they're together. So
yeah, season 1 had a couple.
That's better than Bachelor, I think, right?
Oh, it is. That's what Ari was saying. He's like, literally, like, besides Tristan and Ryan, there's hardly anyone left. I think there's Cole and Tanner, and of course Ashley and Jared. Yeah. And I think a lot of the other ones have gotten divorced. So I don't know about finding love on a reality show, but it's really entertaining. Thank you both for being here. I love it. I love the setup. The audio is good. I got an Ethernet cable. You're welcome.
Yay.
Thank you, Jeremy.
You got a ring light. Yeah.
I know. We got a ring light too.
Yay.
Yay. We're so professional.
Be a great 2023.
All right. It's going to be a great 2023. So, consultantchris.com if you know of any men. Someone just told me this, Chris Gillis, and I thought of you, and I'm gonna there's a story in the Wall Street Journal just today about a mom who hiring dating coaches for their children. And someone I know reached out to you. So consultant Chris, wardrobe dating for men. Follow us on Instagram, come over to TikTok. I was joking the other day, like, I'm not trying to go viral. I don't want like 800 million randos. I just want to build a really amazing community of women who want to date with dignity. So come over there. We're doing tips every single day. So follow us there. And then if you're listening, go to YouTube, help us get verified, whatever that means. But apparently we need to do it. We need watch hours. So come watch the show. You can see how cute Chris and Emily are together. You just want to squeeze their little cheeks. They're so cute. And Chris is wearing a very festive shirt today. He got rid of his Luigi mustache. And he's looking dapper as all get out. I'll be back in LA in February. So we'll have to get back together and do a little live watch party. In the meantime, ladies, it's 2023. What are you here to do? You're here to life check yourself. So do it. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Battista, and let's talk soon.